Joined now by Jon Heath from the Mile High Reporter. Going to take a look at the Denver Broncos and our 32-team preview. Jon, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for joining us here. We're glad you could take some time out of your day, talk a little Broncos here. I know it's something probably close to your heart as you're a Broncos fan, I'm sure. First year for head coach Gary Kubiak. It's not his first year as a head coach, but it'll be his first year being a head coach in Denver. He's kind of a throwback to that Shanahan era. He learned under Shanahan. He's well-versed in the zone blocking. What are the expectations around Denver with the fans and with everybody of what Kubiak's going to bring to the table this year?
Expectations are very high for him because, he is a new head coach, but he's coming into a very good team, and as you alluded to, he has some good history running the ball, zone blocking, and expectations from Denver's front office are high for him. Expectations from the fans are high. They want to win the AFC West again, and the ultimate goal is obviously get to the Super Bowl and win it this time, so expectations are high for him. I think people are hoping that they're going to be able to run the ball well this year and have a pretty good defense and do pretty well.
The big question mark, obviously, when it comes to the offense is Peyton Manning. Getting a little older, you kind of seen a little bit of fatigue setting in for him at the end of last season. Also had the thigh injury, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't say anything about it till the season was over. But where are the folks at in Denver as far as Peyton Manning, his health, and what he's going to be able to do? And what season is he in? He came out in 98, so this is, 14th season?
Yeah, he's been around for a while. I don't think really anyone knows, even him, if this will be his last year. I think
16.
It kind of depends on how this year goes and how this year ends, and then he'll make a decision like that. But from my perspective personally, I wouldn't be surprised if this is his last year. It wouldn't shock me if he hung it up after this season. And you're alluding to his injuries a little bit. I think Denver this year, they didn't pull him out a lot last year. There's that famous video of Brock getting ready to go into a blowout game, and Manning went back in, and Osweiler threw his hands up in the air. This year, they're not going to want to do stuff like that. If they have a big lead in the third quarter, fourth quarter, whatever, they're going to want to play Brock Osweiler because they want him to be their future, so they want him to get some experience, and they also want to preserve Manning for a late season push and a playoff push. So I think they're going to try to ease Manning out a little bit as they can, as they're able to this year, and give Brock a little bit of playing time.
Yeah, I know we haven't seen a lot of Brock Osweiler, but how is he so far as his development? Is he going to be able to come in there and start playing at a pretty high level when he starts? I mean, nobody better to sit behind and learn from than Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it's what everyone is wondering. How in the world is Brock Osweiler going to do when he takes over? And he's had some good performances in preseason, but really he hasn't had really any meaningful playing time in a meaningful game, so it's really hard to say, but he's been looking good. He's been good in practice, good in some preseason games, like I said. So I think if he can get a little bit of playing time in the regular season this year, I think it'll help give us a look at to him.
All right, let's take a look at running. We talked a little bit about it. Gary Kubiak going to install more of the zone blocking that the team kind of messed around with a little bit last year. He's going to go full bore, I'm assuming, as far as zone blocking with the three guys that he's got. He's sitting there with C.J. Anderson, Monte Ball, and Ronnie Hillman. How do you see this shaking out? Who ends up, depth chart-wise, who do you see emerging this season?
As of now, it's C.J. Anderson's job to lose. Going into camp, he's a starting running back, and then behind him they have Monte Ball, and then Hillman is probably about the third guy right now. But really anything can happen with injuries or production. If someone slows down or gets hurt or something, they're not afraid to plug someone else in because Ball he's had a tough go at it since they drafted him, but they still really like him, and they're still hoping that he can be productive for him. But right now, C.J. Anderson is the guy, and he's going to continue to be until he makes them do something else, which he's not going to want to do that. So right now, Anderson is the guy.
C.J. Anderson, yeah, you talk about Monte Ball, a guy who came in with a lot of expectations. He was a first-round draft pick for them. No, was he a second-round draft pick? I can't remember.
He was a second-round pick.
Okay, second-round draft pick. A lot of expectations coming out, and just hasn't been able to live up to them as of yet. We'll see what he can do this year, but it looks like C.J. Anderson's going to be the guy to keep an eye on, especially at the first part of the season. Let's talk a little wide receiver here as well. Demaryius Thomas getting his contract the other day. I'm sure you guys all breathed a collective sigh of relief when that news came down that he's going to be back with the team with no issue this year. You got Emmanuel Sanders. Cody Lattimore is a guy. This is going to be a make-or-break year, I think, for Cody. Where do you stand with Cody Lattimore? He obviously has the physical tools, but is he going to be able to keep up mentally with the game?
Yeah, he has talked a lot about how he wasn't there mentally last year where he should have been, but he's made he's said he's made a lot of progress this offseason, and he's feeling more comfortable, and he's definitely going to get a lot more playing time this year. So he's going to be thrown into the mix a little bit, and he says he's prepared for it, so we'll see how it goes. I think he'll be a decent third receiver for them. They're hoping that he's going to turn out to be a great pick.
Emmanuel Sanders kind of, I wouldn't say emerged, but he did a pretty good job last year, ended up being a sneaky red zone threat for them as well. Do you see him continuing in his progression, or is he about where he's going to be as far as his skills with Peyton Manning? You know, he obviously makes these guys better, but can he get better than he did last year, Emmanuel Sanders?
Yeah, you make a good point. He had a great year last year, but it's hard when you have a career year to follow that up with another career year. So his numbers may not be quite there, or they may be similar, but it's going to be hard for him to put up better than he did last year just because he had such a good season. But he's definitely going to be a really nice red zone threat, as you said, a good deep threat for them. He's going to have a good year, but it may not be fair to expect quite the same output as he had last year.
Right, and there's only so much to go around, especially with the increased emphasis on the run game. You still have Demaryius Thomas there. Obviously, we talked about Emmanuel Sanders, Cody Lattimore. Another guy I see having a big role in this offense is Owen Daniels coming in, filling that spot of Julius Thomas, who's now not with the team. You lose Jacob Tamme as well, so Owen Daniels looks to be the guy who's going to be that number one tight end. What are your thoughts on him coming over from Baltimore?
Yeah, I think Daniels, he could surprise some people this year because he's going to get some passes, he's going to get some red zone passes. He could have a 8 to 10 touchdown year, and those are the kind of numbers that jump out to people. But their tight end that they're really big on and they're really happy about is Virgil Green. They just re-signed him this offseason, and he may not have his flashy numbers, but he's really good at blocking in the run game, and he's a good receiver. They're really happy about him. Green should have a pretty decent year, but yeah, as far as the numbers go, Owen should have a decent season.
Taking a look at the draft this year, the Broncos, they may end up getting one of the better steals of the draft. Obviously, Shane Ray had some pre-draft issues with the drug. He failed the drug. No, he got pulled over with drugs. Correct?
I believe he had possession of marijuana.
Mm-hmm. And he ended up falling a little bit as far as his draft stock because he was a guy looking to go maybe possibly top 10, ended up falling down to Denver. They snag him up. What are folks around Denver saying about Shane Ray? What are your expectations? What are you hoping to see from the rookie?
Well, he's going to probably be a rotational guy because it's hard to come in and start as a rookie when the two guys above you are Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware.
Right.
It's hard to get over top of them on the depth chart, but they're going to be rotating him in probably at outside linebacker, edge rushing. He's going to be rushing the passer this season. They're going to get him in. They want to, in situations perhaps like on third down or passing situations, they want to be able to get Miller, Ware, and Ray all in the field at the same time, and that would be terrifying for the quarterback. So they're going to try to find ways to get him on the field, even if he's not necessarily a starter.
Yeah, when you just name that off, DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, and Shane Ray, that could be very formidable, especially to the opposing quarterback. It'd make me a little bit nervous if I was behind center, and I'm sure it'll be something to watch out there in Denver. Besides those folks, what else do you see from the defense side of the ball?
Well, their secondary is looking really nice. They have 3 Pro Bowlers, obviously, coming back. Aqib Talib, Chris Harris, and T.J. Ward in the back end. They have a young cornerback they really like, Bradley Roby. He's developing well. He'll probably play in the slot a lot this year. They really like him. I think the biggest question right now for them on defense is defensive tackle because they have a 3-4 defense, so the guy in the middle is a big deal. And Sylvester Williams, he's been decent, but he hasn't been really turning any heads his first few seasons in the NFL. So Williams or some other nose tackle is going to have to step up for them this year for them to be able to play 3-4.
Going to be an exciting time out in Denver. At least one more year with Peyton Manning trying to make a deep run here. We're joined by Jon Heath from the Mile High Report. Before we let you go, want your breakout guy. Who's going to be that guy that really hops out this year from the Broncos and is going to surprise some folks?
Maybe Virgil Green, maybe not necessarily stat-wise, but you're gonna hear his name a lot this season. I think a lot of people are going to be, who's Virgil Green? Where did he come from? He's been there. He's just been waiting his turn behind these other tight ends, and this year I think they're really going to use him a lot, and people are going to start to notice him a lot and hear his name more.